Okay, so we can start the class now. And on Monday, I have opened up module number 5. So you see 5 and all the assignment that remaining in the semester. And we don't have much remaining in the semester. So we have until October 16th. So it's about a little bit more than 2 weeks. So that 2 weeks we have to complete 3 assignments, right? 3 assignments. The good news is that out of the 3 assignments, including the project assignment, the most technically difficult one is the one assignment 9, which I can help you to complete about 80% today. So we were talking about 90% earlier, but I think 80%, right? So basically you have all the necessary knowledge to work on assignment number 9 after today. And you actually can submit assignment number 9 in class, right? 80%, but you can submit it, and which means that you will be early before the deadline, and you can go back and fix your link, fix your page later on. Right? So I'll show you the process and explain the architecture, the network architecture associated with the traditional database application system. Right? So that's the goal today. And before we do that, I'm a little bit behind on the grading because I don't know what happened to me. I was very busy over the weekend, the passing weekend. So I grade some of the midterm exam, but not everybody. So if you haven't seen that, most likely you will be seeing tomorrow evening, Thursday. So tomorrow, usually Thursday is my grading day. So last Thursday I did a little bit, not so much, and Monday is my research day, so I try to avoid grading. So, right, so I still need to do, write papers and those kind of things. Right, so so that's about any question about where we are, and I think most of you did reasonably well in the midterm. So you secured, I think the most of you was have secured at least an A-, unless you screw up in the project or final exam, right? But which I doubt that you will, because the final exam will be the same format. So whatever you do in the midterm, you continue that you get the reasonable score in the final. And yeah, the same format. So you have multiple choice and some short questions, just like what you have in the midterm. Chapter 7 down, right? So we have for final exams a little bit less. We have only 5 chapters, so instead of a 6 chapter, right? So so that's final exam, and so I will probably give you a little bit more detail on the final exam. But today, let's take a look at the project exam, and then we'll move on to assignment number 9. And this is again recorded. Last week the recording failed because my computer crashed. So, but fortunately last week we do not have technical know-how in the lecture, so you can read and understand that chapter 8 and 9 by yourself. So assignment number, not assignment number 9. Project assignment is something I want to talk about today. And the project assignment on the syllabus says it's a group project, but in the spring semester, I made it individual assignment. And by doing a couple of things. One is that the requirement for the project is reduced to a format that most students can complete by yourself, right? And the template for a project assignment is your assignment number 8. So when you go through assignment number 8, you learn the process of load data, even though we have some technical glitch on the Apex side, that you can load the data, you can write query, and you can build application. And some of you during the trial and error process, you have also try to fine-tune the application, building different pages, how the manual system navigation can work on. Some of you have played that already, right? And so that is the basic foundation of what you need to do in a project assignment. And the project assignment is simple because this, starting from the spring semester, this is a new project from spring semester. We are using this data set. I take probably a few more seconds for the data set to show up. But this is the data set we're using. And this is called the inauguration data set. And guess whose inauguration this one is? This is the inauguration reception, dinner reception. Everybody know what inauguration is, right? So somebody was elected as president, then you start working. Like, university has a president, and you have inauguration ceremony. So this is inauguration ceremony in 2017, and the president elected was Mr. Donald Trump, right? So this was the list of the donor. So the people donate money to the events, to the inauguration dinner, right? So obviously it's a national celebration dinner, supposed to be very fancy and nice, right? So and of course that people dig this information out, just try to see, because politically people are the two party in the United States kind of fight each other. So they dig out this information, try to find some any connection, political connection between the donors and thing, that sort of thing, right? So that's the background of this data set. And I didn't write this background in the project because that's not appropriate. Anything touch religion, political issues is not good. But from our learning purpose, it's kind of interesting data set. So we use this one and as our practice data set. And the interesting part of this data set is that, well, it's not a big data set. So you see that we have a very few columns, and I try to zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. Okay, it's probably the largest zoom I can get. Anyway, so you have time information, you have organization information, you have, most importantly, geographic information. So you have this address talking about different states, a particular address, and some of the organization name, right? So so some of the things that we want to observe or try to analyze in this data set is, are there connection, or say one of the interesting things you might want to work, which we don't teach you in this class, well, we are not going to be teaching you, is to do geographic data analysis. Right? So because we have geographic data, right? So for example, because President Donald Trump is a represent Republican Party, and of course, the Republican Party, the red state is Texas, Florida, Alabama. So all these southern states, and maybe Tennessee. So all these southern states represent red state may be the potential kind of supporter for Donald Trump. So you expect that the concentration of the donor is in the red state, and maybe there will be a few from the blue state. When we talk about the data mining or fishing, you want to visualize how they spray in the country. So one of the analysis you can do is, because we have state information, address information, you can try to study how this is distributed on a map. You can create a U.S. map and kind of put the number on each state to see, you can see any pattern. If you want to go one step further, the information about the election is everywhere. So you can easily online search for, if you need that help, and I can tell you where to find. And I go to a place called yeah. So let me try to find that. Yeah. So this is a website. I probably need to make the announcement on that part as well. This is the website I visit very often, right? So it is it is founded by a person named Nate Silver. Yeah, he wrote a lot of book about data mining and statistics and things. So this is a website that he hosted, or actually started, and has a lot of interesting cases, analysis, and data, and different interesting way of visualizing data. Say, for example, you see that we have the Senate 2022, the current events forecasting. What is the what? Yeah, so yeah, I already did that. So this is the place, and you can easily find the election or the voting data for 2016 from this website, right? So And there's some story about this website. The 536 is a special number. It represents the number of the congressman, I believe, in the United States, and that's what this is all about. And there are some other, but you can get the 2016 election data, and if you can cross-reference that data with our data, that you might be able to find something interesting. I don't know. Yeah, and this project was published on a website called GitHub, and that is a place you can download out of code people written or data set or case or project, and there are people code for project, right? So in the past, I used some of the project to create a competition on campus. A student can compete in analyzing data. But anyway, so that will be the background of the project, and the whole project follow. Of course, there's some description about the project, but basically what you need to do is to submit a link, which very much similar to your assignment number 8. You submit a link with the analysis, the application building, which I can see, and also submit another document describing what you have done in preparing the data, analyzing the data, and move the data from here, there, and other data quality problems. So answer those questions. So one link and one supporting document will be the idea of this particular project, right? So, and so we're going to be using for the on-campus student and also for online student who want to join us today. And the last week before the project due, we will have some more extensive discussion. My hope is that some of you have already, have 80% like what we do today, project done already by then. So when you come back in the last week, it's probably October 13, I believe, or 12, October 12. So that will be the time you should have your project moving, almost done, and you only have a final exam go together with the project, so that you already know the final exams format. So this will be something we can discuss a little bit more on Wednesday, I think October 12th. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong on that particular day, right? So that's a project, nothing very difficult to do. So most of the time you follow the exact template, and the whole idea of the project is to build something like this. So if you go to external resource, nowadays we have, and this is the one I like, so I'll show it to you. A lot of data portal like this is the City of Chicago data portal, and you can visualize the data and now you see this, you see that our assignment number 8 is pretty much doing the same thing. Right, so you have data, you organize them in database, and after that you create some sort of a interactive report. This is an interactive report, and you can select the data you want to see and show that in your report. So that's pretty much what you have here. Right. So now play around with it. I mean, I'm not going to be spending too much time showing you what you can or cannot do in that particular data portal. Right. So that's a project. And assignment 9, which we'll spend most of the time doing today, and I'll explain the concept and the structure behind it. And assignment 10 is a user management assignment. I call this a DBA 101. So when module 6 is opened up next Monday, you will see assignment 10 material that you can work. So you cannot work on assignment 10 yet because the material is I think, is still hidden in module 6, right? But I just keep that hidden until next Monday, so you will see all the material required for completing the class, right? So today we are going to work on assignment number 9, and here are some foundation knowledge I want to introduce first. First of all, anybody heard about this particular language? This is a programming language. scripting language, right? And what about the thing usually go together with the PHP database, right? Database where this is a database class. So the thing usually go together with PHP, the database is, yeah, MySQL. Right. So you usually have a database, MySQL, and database, of course, you upload, you organize your data in MySQL database, right? And after you have your data ready, you write your computer program to access the data, just like what we do in Apex. We use Apex to read the data, generate report. So you write a computer program to read MySQL data and generate report, right? And display the result on either an individual computer, or most likely using PHP, you will be pushed to a web server, and you can see that in a web page. So anybody with a browser or any app you develop can see the report. And so in order to push the result getting from database through PHP to the web page, you need another service. This another service is usually a web server called Apache, right? And Apache is a open source community, open source project, which means it's virtually free for you to use, right? So this is why people like to use it. So most of the small to medium sized company, their website, if you go to a web hosting company, and I don't know if you heard about this called GoDaddy.com, right? So they of course they have different tiers of the web hosting option. Most of the web hosting company, they use the combination of Apache, MySQL, and PHP to host their website, right? So you have many management options for you to choose from. Some of those are very detailed, and some of them create a more wizard-like portal. So you don't see PHP or MySQL, but you still can create a website with shopping carts and checkout feature, that a standard web program, right? But anyway, so what we are seeing here is that an architecture consists of a web server. So this is a web server. Let me put it back. Consists of a database, because we started with the database, right? And again, cannot stop reminding you that we are in the database management class. So this is the core. So we have the data ready somewhere, and layer one data, right? Layer number two, usually we call this application layer or application server, application layer. So you write business application, the logic, how do you check out, the step of checking out, how do you put in the shopping cart, and how do you generate that receipt or transaction or sales item list, that sort of thing. It's all written in a computer program. So we call them application layer. So we have data layer, application layer, and this application layer generate the result, push to the third layer called the web service layer, or web publishing service layer. So you can publish to the web, publishing to the web. And then finally, when you are end user, you have a browser or you have a mobile phone, you open up this web URL. That's called the client layer, right? So you have data, application, web, and client. So this is a four-tier design. Four-tier design. So typical combination is the one I'm just showing you. But in our class, because we did not learn MySQL, we learned Oracle. So I use Oracle to replace MySQL, and PHP can still access the Oracle database. PHP can also access Microsoft SQL Server. So it has the interface, or so-called middleware function. So we all heard about middleware, and a lot of time it's just a concept. This is a middleware. So you have a middleware between the PHP engine, but actually PHP engine has the middleware, access database service. And that middleware will do the translation and provide the conduit between all these different servers, right? So that is the architecture behind it. And we're going to be experience that in our assignment number 9, right? So if you do not have any web programming experience coming to this assignment, it is a difficult assignment because there are a lot of components to do. But the good news, and the tutorial actually show you step by step some of the introduction to write a PHP program. But again, that's not necessary for everybody because we're not training programmer. We're training MIS manager. We're training for the person that can communicate. So to simplify your job, I have posted the almost complete program. It's called, and this is actually at the end of the tutorial, you will complete a PHP program with the name of Oracle PHP-5. Let me see, try to see if I can find it. It should be in module number 5. I didn't open module number 5 for this section. I think I did, right? 3, 4, no 5. So I'll try to open up 5 for you. I think the other 2 sections should have 5. No, it's not. It's not open. So now it's open. So I'm going back to student view of the Canvas platform. So going to module 5. So if you're in the other 2 sections, you cannot see this. So have to email me. I have to. This is the management problem. Yeah. So you know the management problem is important, and that's why we have MIS field. And this management issue, I mean, like, how do I open up modules and scheduling, what to do, is a very important topic in system analysis and design, or software engineering topic we call version management. So imagine that Microsoft need to release Windows 11 version 1, 1.1, 1.100, 101. They have little fixes and update all the time. You have to, from the client side, we have to update all the time. And how do they know which one is the newest one, which one is old one? And imagine internally, Microsoft had to manage all the programmer that write different patches or little update. And you have to keep track. So there is a numbering system. You number every. So this is same thing, very similar to what we do here. Similar to what you do in your project. You might be creating multiple applications. Some of you have done that already in assignment 8. You fail the first time and you create a new one, and then suddenly you see so many of those, you don't know which one you're dealing with, right? So, or when you're working on your assignment, you save the Word documents so many versions, and when you submit, you tell professor, oh, I received this every semester, almost every week. Professor, I submitted the wrong version. The old one, I mean, I work multiple versions, but I submit the old one, which is, so the version management is actually a big topic from the MI's perspective. We are managing the developing process. In a way, this is also project management. So you're managing projects. That's why we have a course called project management. And one day you'll find out they are all the same thing. You are managing a project, right? And project is evolving projects, keep evolving and evolving, right? So, but anyway, so the trick is that we have a program code I have written for you. So you scroll down to the module 5. At the end of module 5, there is a PHP program you can download. And we're going to be using that directly in today's lecture. So you know how to use the program and come up with a result very quickly and be able to submit your assignment. And also in module number 5, you will see another tutorial called the module 5B chart.js tutorial. That is not required, right? So unless you're after assignment 9, you feel like you're very interested in this traditional way of building web application, that module 5B show you how to use external package, right, to easily copy and paste. But copy and paste is not directly copy. You have to copy, reconfigure, and paste, right? So that is a trick. So you have to know how to use the package, or just like what you need to learn in programming language. You need to learn how to use the function before you can call the function to use. Right? So that is an interesting tutorial that you can actually build a very fancy website all by yourself from internally, not without the help of the paid service like Apex. Apex is an expensive software, right? Even though we use that for free, that's because this is a learning trial version, right? So if you want to use a commercial version over 10 user, they will charge you, starting from thousands of dollars minimally every year for small company. Over 50, I believe that's a tens of thousand subscription fee every year. Right. So anyway, so we're going to be doing that, but even before that, I want to show some of you, because we do not have all the students with enough technical background for website building, right, or web application building. So the first thing is to understand what is a website. Well, website, of course, is a place you have a web server, you put a web page on top of it, and the web page become website. Right. And so before you can build a website, you need to have a website or web page building software somewhere. The most easy, simple software is any text editor can be used as a web page builder, right? So anything like a notepad or as simple as a notepad, you can. And why? Because HTML, including the newest version HTML5, is written in something called markup language. And markup language is plain text. And so use this bracket to mark up what's supposed that particular text or object behave. So that's why it's called a markup language. So any text editor will work. And some of the almost all the software, almost all the Microsoft Office software can be used as a web page editor, including Excel, Word, and PowerPoint. Right. So today I'm going to be using Word, as simple as Word, to show you how to do that. So let's open up Microsoft Word, and I will try to find a picture. Let's try to find what's interesting topic we want to talk about. Coffee. Right. Let's download some nice little coffee. Yeah, this is good. I love coffee. It's not I love coffee. It's just the pictures I love. See if I can steal the picture. No, I cannot. So I will not use this one. Well, I can still steal that picture, but not very easily. So I will find another one that's downloadable. Okay. All right, we can save the image. So this is JPEG. Nice. Let's save this to desktop. And because I'm using the Citrix virtual desktop, so it's probably best that you save all the thing on the desktop. Yeah. What? Yeah. Your Citrix is recommended because that's a standard standard, well, what do you call standard system that we. So if you use Citrix, you can follow exactly what I'm doing here. If you use your home computer, you can still do things, but I cannot guarantee you can go through very smoothly, right? So let's open up and create a. Oh, what happened? All right. So let me create a very quickly a page. All right, let me call this MIS542 for 2022 test web. And I'm going to be using a big title like this one. And to make it more interesting, put a picture. I just put a picture there, so I'll insert the picture. You know, nothing here is more than what you do with your regular any assignment. So take a picture of this device. put something down here. Good, nice. Right, and to make things a little bit easier. Okay. Make it red. Okay. So now we have the Word document with something like a web page. And if you want to publish this to a web page, simply from Microsoft Word, when you save, I'm going to be saving this on desktop. And when you save, simply change that document format from the regular default Word to a web page. A web page. So when you save that web page, and I'm going to be saving that, and actually become a web page. And what's happening here is, let me see, where's the web page? I cannot find it. There we go. Here. No, it's not there. Why? I don't know. Save this again. Oh, that's mine. I already have that. Let's check. Okay. Oh, there we go. So this is the file I'm looking for. Right. So I didn't see it because it showed up as a Microsoft Edge icon. So if you double click on this, open up this file, it will open up in the default browser, and that will be the web page what you'll be looking for. Well, actually, we built this particular web page using Microsoft Word. But if you look at the URL, it's not a web URL; it's a local URL. So basically, this website can only see by you on your own computer. So we have to publish this to a web server, and this is where the web server is. And our web server is under the name of uisacad.uis.edu. You've probably seen this already somewhere. If you anybody recall where you see this from when you use PuTTY, you go in there and you log into the server. So this is a sandbox server and running Linux, Red Hat Linux 6. And that is a server we are using. And on this particular server, we have installed Oracle and Apache, right? And you haven't seen Apache yet, so we're going to be looking at Apache today. It's not that easy to see, but if you want to see a web page, it's goes something like this. And if when you type this, you will not see anything using your username. So from the screen, what I have just typed is the server name, uisacad.us.edu / and I put a tilde. This is a default directory. You can change that to make it more like a real subdirectory of a website. But the tilde username is the web space belong to that particular user. Right. So my space is TWNG22, and your space will be your tilde net ID. Some that like that. So tilde is on your left upper corner of your keyboard. So you look for that tilde. And so because I have already put a website here, and on my account, when I enter my account, there is kind of like a blank web page. So I kind of copy from a source called the HTML5 app. So that is there is a place you can actually download a lot of template of website, and you just change the name, put in picture, become a nice design website, totally free, right? So that's the place I have. So this is my website, and we're gonna be doing something very similar to this. So are you going to use your website? No, you're not going to be doing this website, but no. But what we'll do is we'll do something similar. But what I'm doing here is to show you where our web server is, where the web server publish your web page. So the web server is uisacad.us.edu, and the place they publish your page is your tilde, your username under that, right? So you put whatever the file there, then you will be usually this page. If you put a file here called index.html or index.html, the index.html will be used as a default web page to show up here when you type in your directory here. So this is the web server directory under my username. Right. So our first job is try to find the web server and find a way to upload the web server and upload a file to the web server. Okay. So we haven't done anything yet, so don't worry. Now here's the method we're going to be uploading web server from the virtual machine. Now to upload the file or to edit the file on the server, you usually need some kind of software to either directly connect to the server, or you have a mechanism to transfer the file from your local computer to the server. Right? And so you should be familiar with the term called FTP, file transfer protocol. So file transfer protocol is a web communication protocol, similar to things like Telnet, some of the things we use PuTTY. You see that the SSN protocol. So all these protocols are communication protocol for different purpose. If you want to move file from one place to another, use FTP. So if you search FTP, there will be a lot of utility program or software that you can actually download from the web, right? I think the most popular free, including Win, SCP, I think usually. So there are a lot of files you can download, and when you download these file transfer utility, you can use them to transfer your file to the server. But because installing these software is, not it's kind of a heavy duty job, and you put a lot of resource on our virtual desktop, because I'm using virtual desktop. Our virtual desktop has only 2 gigabytes of RAM. So I decided to use a smaller utility called Swish, right? And Swish, you can search for SWISH, just search for Swish download, right? Or Swish, maybe it's better to search for Swish SFTP download. So, and this is a utility. By the way, why we are using this utility? On your Windows computer, when you try to move files from one place to another, from your computer to a flash drive, or moving around, use a file manager, use a file explorer. I think that's the name of it. And so the question is, can you move using file explorer, move your file to the internet? Yeah, if you have make the right connection, right? So on the file explorer, you can actually create network drive. Then that network drive will just operate just like your flash drive and or CD-ROM. That you can just move files within the file manager. So I decided what we're going to be using that, but it's not very easy sometimes. File Explorer has a native FTP protocol built in. So if you have a web server that provide FTP access, then you can use that File Explorer directly. But unfortunately, our web server has been actually not our web server. Most of web server today installed by default with a more secured transfer protocol called the SFTP. SFTP. So guess what the S stands for in front of FTP? Secured. Secured FTP. Right? So it means it's more secured with better encryptions and different port number for that server. So anyway, so this little utility called Swish can convert your file explorer from regular FTP to a SFTP utility. So that's what we will do. And so go to, usually you will find this download on SourceForge, and I download a lot of things from SourceForge. Sometimes it's very dangerous to download software from this website because there are a lot of Trojan horse software that embedded in some of the download, even though that they have checked for potential problem all the time. But once in a while, you still get wrong download. So I'm downloading that software right now, right? So hopefully that's download correctly. And I would not recommend you do this on your home computer. Uh, but if you do this on the virtual desktop, the benefit of doing this on virtual desktop is if you infect virus on the virtual desktop, the virtual desktop will be reset at midnight every day. So it's safer. So we're going to be doing that in virtual desktop instead of on your own computer. So it's already downloaded, and I need to find the download somewhere, right? One of the interesting thing about this virtual desktop is, you know, the window can be configured any way you like. So you can enable or disable certain things. And the virtual desktop, we have disable File Explorer direct link. So, but we need to use File Explorer. But they leave a loophole here. The recycle bin is a File Explorer. And so I usually go to recycle bin. There was a video game. I forgot what video game is that. There was a video game. Every time your avatar die, you were thrown into a toilet, and you revive from the toilet. Does anybody know that game? There's a so every time next time you because you know on the video map, there are multiple kind of a level, right? So so every level has a toilet. So if you die in that toilet, so you will jump out from that toilet with the remaining life. so that's well. So I enter from recycle bin. I think the download is under document downloads. Yeah. So I download switch here. So I'll copy this to desktop. Let's make it easier to access. And so I have this switch software download. We can now install switch. So double click and say yes, just like you install all the games, all the software, and follow. And well, it will be interesting to read all the instruction, but to save time, I'm not going to that. Just use the default and select whatever and install. Okay. So once you have finished up install the software, and you can now again go into your file explorer and go to this PC. And when you click on this PC now, it shows that what you need to what kind of write you want to grant to the virtual desktop. Just say read and write access. Basically what it will give you is that the virtual desktop now has the ability to access your local computer. So the computer you use to open virtual desktop. So you can actually move files between. So if you read the drive, the hard drive that lists under this PC, you see one of the drives say local disk. That is the hard drive on the virtual desktop. So that's Windows system. And you also see another local disk C. In this case, you see that's BRK413-15. So that is the instructor computer I'm using, right? So we can actually, from the virtual desktop, communicate or exchange file between the local computer. You have CD-ROM and on the local computer. In addition to all this familiar drive, you see one additional thing called switch. That particular icon represents a network drive. So now we have created a network portal. Now you can use that portal to access any SFTP website. So let's do that by going in. All right, so what you should be seeing here, what I will do is I will remove this, right? Don't check, okay? What you will be seeing is something like this. You go into switch, it shows an empty, nothing's there because we haven't make any connection to any SFTP server. But if you look on top, there will be a line, say something that is not in the regular file explorer menu. You see you have organized add SFTP connection, launch key agent, the three function. And to make a connection, we want to use the add SFTP connection, right? So this part I'll slow down a little bit so you can follow. Put a name here, any name, but let me just put UISACAD web server, right? So I know this is a AI UISACAD web server for the name, right? So later it will show up as the connection name. Now host will be uisacad.uis.edu, and user will be you. You mean the user? The user will be you, your net ID. Yeah, your net ID. And this is pretty, what we are doing here is very much similar to what you have done in PuTTY when we have previous assignment. So you're logging using your, well, this is your Linux account, but we, of course, we sync the Linux account to the to your UIS account. So they are the same account, same password. And but in this case, we are logging to the FTP server. Kind of weird because even though the name of the host is the same, but you actually when you use different utility to log in, you log into different server. So this time we log into FTP server, right? So last time when we log into this, we log into Linux directly. And from within Linux, if you recall, we use SQL Plus to get into oracle.us.edu. Right? But in this case, we are logging into FTP, so we can move file. Right? So far, we haven't seen Apache yet. You will never see it, but I'll tell you where it is. Apache is right here. Apache managed together with, well, it's actually sitting on top of Linux and listen to requests. And the request of web page will be served from a certain file directory, right? So the file directory is very similar to the one you see at the bottom field of this particular connection dialect, says path. That path is where your Apache file should be located. And this is where the Apache file is located. And there is examples at home. The default Apache web server will create a home directory on the Linux system. So you put /home, and next is after the slash is your name. In this case, will be your account name. So in my case, will be TWNG22. In your case, will be your net ID, right? But we cannot stop there because this will take you to a private directory, and you will see a lot of things going on here. Once you get into your personal directory, you have to go into the public web server directory, and this is a very standard name. The folder that contain all the published web page is called public HTML. So public _ HTML is the default name for Apache web server. Save your file, right? So once you use a developer's account, create, in this case, your username, did I put / yeah, and /public _ HTML. That is the place we're gonna be uploading our web page, okay? So when you have that path, just say create. So after you create, it's right there. Now you can double click the new connection we made. Just say I trust this key, and that's security. But that is an interesting thing that if you are taking any security class in the future, that would be a good place to go. Yeah, quick question. The path is /home/ your username and /public _ HTML, right? But I'll come back to there after we finish up the entire process. So if you just got stuck here, don't worry, we'll fix it, you know, after, because I really don't want to make the recording too long. Okay, so password is your UIS net ID password, not Oracle, not the one that you use for AirPack. So something wrong with oh, let me reconfigure that, right? So that's probably good. I probably make something incorrect there. I probably should put a slash at the end. Okay. Yeah. So now it's in. So I put a slash at the end. Public HTML. Okay. When you go in here, you should see blank. And the account I'm using is my account. I've been using this for many. This I think I started using this since 2015. So it got a lot of things being uploaded already, including the thing I have just done on yesterday for another class. But this is what it is, and we can, if you have blank, that's good. Right? So this is file manager, and remember we have just done a web page called the MIS542 test web. You know what? I'm gonna be yeah, well, I'm gonna be doing one thing because I don't want this web page to have space on the file name. So I put for 2022 underscore test underscore web. Yeah, so that's probably better. Okay, maybe not. Maybe I'll just do this. Okay. So anyway, so we have these two files. We can now copy. And before I copy, I have to close my Word document. Why am I closing my work document? Because if you open your work document with that file, the file cannot be moved or copied. That's restricted. And let me copy these two files, or actually one file and a folder. This folder contains a picture of your document. And let's put this on top of your, and that's done. So this two files now is copied, not moved, copied onto our web server. And with the name of MIS542 for 2022 test web with the file name. And the extension for that particular file name, I think is HTM. And so let's try to see if we can see now this particular web page from a browser. Right. And just to demonstrate this a little bit more, we're going to be accessing the browser not from the Citrix. We're going to be using a local computer. And we can now use the following web address: uisacad.uis.edu/tilde WANG22 and slash. Now put your file name MIS542 for 2022 web page, I think. Let me see if I get that name correctly. Test web, not web page, test web. So I do have a test web. Now, if you enter that correctly, you should be seeing our web page. Now that will be the URL of your published web page. So that process is a website publishing process. You basically move the file to the right directory. And if you know your file name or the default directory, you can display that web page. As I mentioned before, usually a URL without a file name is displaying the default page. The default page is index.html. But in this case, I enter the file name directly, the file will show up in here, right? So that's what we are going to be doing in our computer program. So the next step is the real step to do your assignment number 9. Right? Assignment number 9 is very similar to your assignment number 8, but we are using this technology instead of the Apex. And to make sure that you have the system done correctly, again, we have to go through the problem solving process or architecture one layer at a time. So the first thing before we write any computer program or web page, we have to make sure our data is on the server. And the database server we're going to be using is oracle.uis.edu. That sound familiar to you? Oracle.us.edu. Okay. So and where can we see oracle.us.edu? SQL Developer. So let's give you a few seconds to open up SQL Developer. Our old friend from week number 1. Right? So I'm kind of walking around because I know it will take a while to load. Okay. So far, so good. Understand what I'm doing here? Okay. Yeah. Yeah, slow. When you make a presentation, right? So all of you need to make presentations in your career. There's a lot of time in today's presentation, regardless how prepared you are, there'll be technical glitch. The projector doesn't work, the screen doesn't work, the software present doesn't work, you have the wrong flash drive, and right. So you gotta be prepared always to fill in the empty time. But I'm a professor. I've been doing this for a long time, so I kind of uh, usually have a lot of things to say during the process. So that's, but this is the waiting time, and this is why that a lot of this tech people demonstration fail. Like in the Apple new product release, sometimes I think now it's Tim Cook. It used to be like Steve Jobs. A lot of time they will make a mistake. There was 1 year, as I remember, Microsoft was trying to release their voice recognition system, and they try to demonstrate with the live voice recognition utility, and the voice recognition always come up with the wrong result, right? So that's embarrassing, but it happen all the time, right? So SQL Developer is on, and we always have to make a new connection before you can see your data on the database server. So let me click on that plus sign, and oh, there we go. Now, for those of you in the classroom, don't hurry and do that, and I will come back and we will repeat the process, and we'll end our process, or actually online class early today, but helping the on-campus student to solve the problem. So let's say let's call this connection name oracle.uis, oracle uis edu. That's a band name. UIS Oracle account. Okay, and username will be your username from, and the password here is Oracle. Oracle is the one we have reset during our previous assignment. I hope you did that. You're following my instruction. You set, and The original password was sync with your UIS NetID account, but I have explained the reason that Oracle has a different password rule. So some of the complex password you set may not be acceptable to Oracle. So that password may or may not work. But if you reset it, all the default password will become Oracle. And that made me easier as well if I want to debug for you to make sure that this is not a password problem. So if you have not done so earlier, I would recommend to do that by going to your Canvas, and on Canvas system in module one. In module one, there is a Oracle UIS Oracle account reset page, right? So make sure you go into that reset page, enter your UIS name and password, then reset to Oracle, right? So that is repeating process we've done before. So I'll go back to this, and the host now become oracle.uis.edu, right? So again, repeating what I have said in week number 1 of our class, knowing which host or which connection or which server you are dealing with and which account you have right to access the server is extremely important. That again is your personal information management job. So you have to know which server and what is the connection requirement, username and password. In this case, we use a basic connection. You have to specify the correct SID. The SID is Oracle. So you have to change all this to the right configuration string and test. Hopefully, will be successful and connect. All right. So once you are there, you open up your connection, and you should be able to see there again a folder called table. This is where you have uploaded all the script and run the script and upload the data. And here you need to look for Titanic. If you don't have Titanic, what you need to do is, yeah, so I'm going to be showing you the upload process now. So first of all, you need to go back to your Canvas to get your Titanic file. All right, so Titanic file is right here. So I'm downloading a Titanic file. Oh, I already downloaded already. So let me open up this in the folder. Oh, I downloaded 2 times already. So what I would do is I will move, I'm gonna shrink this one to the background, move Titanic to desktop, right? Become my standard operating procedure now. So we have Titanic file there. And from within the SQL developer, to get Titanic file in there, right click on the table. There is something called the import data. Right? So if you compare this to your Apex, Apex has that data utility that you can go in there, and some of you fail, some of you successful, but that similar interface, just similar utility, but just in different interface. So they show up different. But in SQL Developer, a lot of people like to use the Microsoft SQL Management Studio, or in Oracle use SQL Developer, because people used to this particular format. It's kind of easier. But if you go to the web, you have to find this graphical location. Sometimes every new software, you have to relearn where to find that function. So in here, it's just right there. And a lot of these desktop software, these feature function will be enabled by right-click something. You got this, so I know you know that already. So, and so you can now select the file. I put on desktop because SQL Developer is more friendly going to the desktop. So I can get my Titanic file, and using the default, I think will be good enough. You see the data here. Go next, and you have to put a name here, right? So I'll just say FSFS. The reason I don't put Titanic here is because I've used that several times. So I have so many Titanic 1, 2, 3, and Titanic. So well, maybe I use Titanic again. 4, 5, 4. I already have 1, 2, 3. Yeah, thanks. But don't put 4 there because your computer is blank. So your account is blank. Just put Titanic. And this is a interface telling you which column of the table need to be imported. You can select, kind of like creating a view. So sometimes you don't want all the data. And so in this case, we need all the column. And you can change the file, the data format and domain for the data, but we don't need to change it. Use the default and say finish. Right. Once you finish, it says successfully. So it says task successfully committed. By the way, there's an interesting words here. Doesn't seem to be interesting to you, because I'm a teacher. It says committed, right? Committed. This word you will encounter when you prepare for the quizzes or final exam in chapter 9. Right? So when chapter 9 talk about the transaction control language, if you recall, SQL language has many components. Data management language, data creation language, data control language, TCL. This is TCL. Committed is a TCL keyword that used in system configuration, right? So basically, what they do here is something what we call the transaction control. And transaction is the concept of transaction is introduced in chapter 9. And actually, we are reading chapter 9 right now as a matter of this week. And transaction control means that how are you going to make sure a transaction goes through or not? Simple example will be something like this. If you go to Amazon website, you want to buy something, right? And buy something is a process, is a business process, right? And usually when you complete a business process, we call that a transaction, right? So the question now is, where does the Amazon transaction start or purchasing transaction start? Where does the transaction end, right? And how do you define the transaction? Right, that job sounds very easy, but it's very difficult. Let me explain a little bit. First of all, the typical user experience will be you go into Amazon website, you browse the website, or you search on the website for the product you want to buy, and you put those into the shopping cart, right? And then you go to checkout. And so if you go to checkout, you see the checkout page. And you look at the shopping cart, they put the shipping cost and the tax. And you start mentally calculating how much you have left in the bank account or credit card, and you decide, well, maybe I'll just leave it there and think about it tomorrow. So you close the web page. Did the transaction go through? That is a tricky question. The correct answer for that is depends on which transaction you're talking about. So if you're talking about the sales transaction, no, it did not go through, right? Because sales transaction have to go through the process in the shopping cart, in the checkout page. You have entered the correct payment information. The payment information that you submit be verified, and Amazon issue you a confirmation. That once you receive that confirmation, it means transaction is complete, right? So you can define the transaction between browsing the website to confirmation, that entire process. So you stop in any one of the process in between, the transaction will fail, right? So on the computer management perspective, when Amazon receives the transaction, right? How do I handle that transaction in my database, in my Amazon database, right? There are a couple of options here. One option here is when I finish out the transaction, I automatically save to the sales database, right? And the other option is, well, I want to do one extra check or give it a waiting time. Usually this is what I, because database access is time consuming process. So which means that if you go to Amazon website, you access the Amazon, you complete transaction, Amazon upload your data to transaction. That transaction, even though for each individual transaction from user's perspective is very quick, but that process compared to other job computers doing is slow because that involves the saving file, saving or insert operation in database, inserting data. Inserting data is not very fast, it's just slow, right? So typically what an e-commerce website would do is they will keep your transaction, keep all transactions, not save the data to the database in a temporary database. And a temporary database will be smaller, faster. So you're saving, keeping data there. And at a certain time of the day, they will upload the entire transaction to the main server. And that process is called commit. So when you make the transaction permanent, it's commit. Before you make a transaction permanent, it's we have a terminology here. It's called a dirty data. It's dirty, somewhere in between. Haven't been actually recorded yet, but it's there. So this is actually word commit. Use the opportunity to introduce some of the concept from chapter number 9. Okay. But when you have uploaded data, the next thing you need to do is right-click on the table again, refresh. So when you refresh, you should be able to see your table, right? So in my case, will be 4, right? So, and that is the data here, right? So now we can enter query to the data. I'm entering a query here. I want to apologize for the small print, but select count parenthesis asterisk. That is not new. You should have seen that already in your previous assignment, but count is a function. So you are counting how many, in this case, we're counting how many survivor in count. So this is like a function. Function is always a apprentice, parenthesis, and asterisk and sex from Titanic. Or that, well, yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4. I have Titanic, so I'll use Titanic. Same thing, right? Okay. So that's my query. This is an example, right? So I'm going to use this example to demonstrate. So select count asterisk, the count function asterisk, and sex is the gender. Well, they use the column name sex from Titanic table, where survive, which is another column, equal to yes. So I want to see how many survivor in each gender, right? So I can execute a query, and the result is oh, something wrong with it. Oh, I forgot to put the group by. Oh yeah, it's also wrong. Titanic, and I also need to use group by. Wait, why I'm typing M? Must be this keyboard, not my problem. I'm just making excuse. Yeah, Titanic. Thanks. All right. So yeah. Still wrong? What's wrong? Oh, count. That's not the asterisk. It's the. There we go. Now we should get this thing right. Okay. So this is the result. I put a. I put a power. So that should be the, we should have what's the number? 367, 344. Okay. So that's my count so that's a query. So basically what you need to do in assignment number 9 is you got to figure out that query, just like what you do in assignment 5. Right? But that query is not directly accessible. So you have to use view to generate the right query. Okay. So now our next job is we need to move this to the web. We want to use a program to do the same thing for us, to issue the query to database server. And to do that again, you have to download the file. Uh-oh, I closed my. I closed my canvas. Why I'm. Oh, wait a minute. I didn't close my canvas. Canvas is right here. So now the tutorial called the module 5A PHP introduction will guide you all the way to use this particular file. So we're going to be using Oracle PHP 5, and we're going to be downloading this. All right, so that's there. So I already downloaded it again. Guess what? We're going to be moving this file to the desktop as well. Easier on the virtual desktop. Oracle PHP 5.php. Okay. And so now this is a programming file. As you can see that this one does not have any associated program to run this file, because only PHP engine can recognize this. And we are editing this program. So let's open up with Notepad++. Notepad++ is a text editor, and it's not Windows program. So if you're using your own computer, you have to download the Notepad++. You can search for, like, from the SourceForge. You can search and download this install. I use this because I like to use text editor myself. It makes me more mobile. Mobile means I can use any machine to do the job I want to do. And I want to make it bigger. Control mouse wheel up. Okay. Okay, so this is what I want to do to show you, to demonstrate. So this is a complete program finish up already. Right? Now, one of the things I want you to do first is not very important, but it will be helpful, is if you look at line number 8, 2017. So obviously I kind of created this in 2017. And you see the markup says H1. H1 means what? Header. Well, I mean the title is a big title, number 1. And you have paragraph outside of it. Change it to what? For 2022. Let's say that's better, right? So once you have added a program in Notepad++, look at the left upper corner of that tab. This little file or save symbol turn red, right? So if you save this file now, save, you see that it will turn to blue. Blue means that it's already saved. Red is not saved. So make sure you have to save the file. Right? So now we are ready to edit the program. And the entire program is basically building the building the web page. So it's a computer generated web page. And without detail explaining how to do this, I'll take you to the two most important line here. One is on line number 11. So see line 11, it's right here. It's a long program code line. But if you look at that, you can probably guess what it is trying to do. Is connection. So what do we do in SQL Developer for connection? Connect to database. You and use your account. What account? Your UIS Oracle account. So you have to change my name, my account to your account, right? If you don't change it, it may still work because you're using mine. And the password, if you reset it, but I would recommend using your own account, right? So your account password reset become Oracle, and the rest of it don't touch it. It's a default connection string. And but if you read about it's something about Oracle on that particular server, oracle.us.edu on that particular server. So that part of the programming code just connecting to the database, and the rest of the program code, the most important line for this sample program is line number 17. Thanks, 17. Thank you. 17. 17 says SQL query. That is where we enter our query, right? So whatever query you put in there, you'll get the target result. So what I would do here is I will enter this query. And in the SQL developer environment, we usually use a semicolon to end a statement. In the PHP code, they also use semicolon to end any statement. So we can see each line. So because the language has come, and this is called a embedded SQL. So you have a programming language, but you want to use SQL. You have to embed the SQL language in the programming language. And this happened a lot in when you use one programming language to another programming language, and sometimes the syntax will change. In this case, the SQL query will drop the semicolon. So you don't have a semicolon, but the function will, in this case, the function will be the OCI parse function, the next line. That function will read the statement until they're very, without using the semicolon to interpret the SQL query. So you can see that my query, my default query is actually kind of special, strange name. That strange name is actually a view that I created for assignment number 9. But here, for demonstration purpose, so this is why and this is view, of course, you don't know, you haven't done that yet. So that is the part, the 20% you cannot do today, because that is what for you to figure out the right query, a right view to show your result. The result is you have to calculate the percentage of the survivor. How many people, in my example here is we'll count how many actual survivor, number of survivor, but you need to calculate percentage. How do you calculate percentage? The actual survivor number divided by total number, right? So that is for you to figure out how to do the calculation in SQL, right? But here, let's select count, and because this is inside the program, and it look really bad if you use the return line. So we use one entire line. From this time I spelled that correctly, right? No, that's it. Okay, so that's our query. Hopefully that's correct. And save. Right, so this is PHP Oracle file. For good actually for a better.
Is this the right query or this not the right query?
This is not the right query for the assignment. This is a demonstration of query for right. So if you put this here and you submit this query, you got I think this assignment is what, 5 points or 10? I forgot. 5 points. So you got 4. But if you get the right query, you got 5. Right. So, but still will not impact your grade too much, but it will be like something challenge for you to. Right. So okay, to make it more but to make it better, like without using the Oracle PHP 5, let me save this as assignment 9. Assignment, forgot the T. Assignment 9.php. Assignment 9. So on your desktop, you should be able to see right here. So this is assignment 9 php.php. So now go to my Swish. So this is Swish folder. I take my assignment 9, put it here. I already did that yesterday, so put it here. Right? So assignment 9.php. And move to the Swish folder, the public HTML folder. So if you look at on top here, it's on top. So this is earlier when we install Swish, you see that this PC Swish SFTP something home TWNG22 public HTML. Right? So that's my web folder. The Swish has now a file called assignment number 9 right here, .php. Right? So we can now move to another computer or page. This is the test page we have done. So become a no, this one we edit by using the Microsoft Word, right? So Word will embed the picture in the folder for you. So now this is but the Word document is not part of assignment 9. I'm just using this as an example to explain how the web page is uploaded. And here, so I put this into assignment number 9 already. Hopefully I spelled that correctly. So if you enter that, right? So guess what? That's the result. So the program, basically the entire program is taking your query result and put them into a table like this one. All right, putting the table like this one. So in this case, I have a survivor count. So if you are good enough with HTML, you can actually put a label on top of it, or something here to. But I don't need that. I just want you to know how this works. So this table will do. Yeah. You submit the link. You submit link and the PHP file together with the link. So when you edit this, you have to save your PHP file and the link, right? So you have to submit this link to the assignment page. Okay. So let me go back to my virtual desktop. Do one more demonstration, and we can stop the recording because that will be the complete process. When you change the query, say right? So I changed this to a simple query. Select every column from SKU data. So where's the SKU data? This is the data we actually uploaded in week number 2 when we work on basic query. So this is a SKU data, right? You have 8 rows of the data with the numbers, the name, the buyer, description, department, right? So that is the result we are looking for. And so now I have changed that. I'll save this file. And this is the updated file. I already saved it. And if you move that to, again, to a switch folder, copy and replace the original file. Same web page, refresh.
So is this web page on the Citrix?
Now this web page is on usacad.us.edu. We do the job in Citrix. You can do the job out somewhere else, but the demonstration here, I use Citrix because that's a standard. Everybody can have the same access. Using your computer, you may get confused. So that's why, right? So every query, if that's a right query, you get a table, right? Then for people who has website building experience, you can make a table even better. You can change the color, you can change the size, you can change the everything, right? So, but that involves more web page programming. But the template, the PHP template, you only need to modify two places. One is the connection. You have your own account connection. The second one is query. You put the right query in there, the result will be here, right? And put the file in the right place, right? So now you can actually, if you want to use this assignment file, just submit a link to me, to the assignment. And because when you replace that query with a new query you put in there, the result will change, right? So that's same thing with your project assignment. When you approach a due date and you haven't finished, guess what? Submit it first. Submit the link first. And then you have probably one or two because your professor will not be graded right after the due date. So probably grade next day or day after, so you can. So on the Canvas, you will not show as late submission.
Okay. So you can submit and after the due date you can
Right. Right. So you can submit and update your page later. So does your project. You can submit and update your application later. So that's, yeah. Okay. So I will stop the recording here and see anything. And this will be uploaded today and available for all the sections.